This is the Franklin Delano Roosevelt Memorial in Washington, D.C. This larger-than-life statue commemorates FDR's life, leadership, and legacy. But who was the man behind the monument? Death had almost taken Roosevelt before he drew his first breath, when his mother was administered a chloroform overdose during an agonizing labor that lasted more than 24 hours. The future president was born blue, limp and lifeless until a doctor revived him through mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. The privilege of Roosevelt's name took him far in life. One Columbia law professor recalled that Franklin Roosevelt was not much of a student and nothing of a lawyer afterwards. He didn't appear to have any aptitude for law and made no effort to overcome that handicap by hard work. Roosevelt would rather play golf and flirt, and in 1903 he set his sights on Eleanor Roosevelt, his fifth cousin once removed and the niece of Teddy Roosevelt.
Take care of her.
I will, Mr. President.
Call me Uncle Ted.
Almost 20 years later, Roosevelt awoke on a warm August morning to a life that would never be the same again. When I swung out of bed, my left leg lagged, he recalled. I tried to persuade myself that the trouble with my leg was muscular, that it would disappear as I used it. It didn't. For 2 weeks, the spreading paralysis and severe pain baffled local doctors until a specialist from Boston delivered the diagnosis: polio. But the optimistic Roosevelt never lost hope. He found respite in the therapeutic mineral waters of Warm Springs, Georgia. Meeting others stricken by polio at Warm Springs altered Roosevelt, says David B. Woolner, a senior fellow at the Roosevelt Institute. It had an enormous impact in deepening his sense of compassion for people less fortunate than himself, and exposed them to rural poverty in the Southeast. Despite his lifelong health struggles, FDR made sure to keep busy. He began collecting stamps when he was a small child and continued throughout his life, resulting in a collection of 1.2 million pieces. And his position as Assistant Secretary of the Navy was by no accident. FDR loved sailing and was commanding his own sloop, the New Moon, at age 16.
Are you telling me that I don't sail?
No.
Well, if I could do it, you can.
It was this displayed optimism and persistence that saved our national pastime during World War II. FDR loved baseball, even though he hadn't played it very well in his youth. At prep school, he ended up not as a player, but as a manager of the school's team. But when the question was asked if baseball should be suspended during World War II, FDR said, "Play ball." In a letter to the baseball commissioner, Roosevelt said, "I honestly feel that it would be best for the country to keep baseball going," the president continued. "There'll be fewer people unemployed and everybody will work longer hours and harder than ever before. And that means that they ought to have a chance for recreation and for taking their minds off their work even more than before." Of course, FDR's bravery led us through some of the most tumultuous times in history, but it was truly the optimism and perseverance that defined him that made it all possible.